Today I'm bringing a motion that reflects our duty as councillors to protect children's well-being and ensure that education is delivered by trained and accomplished teachers. It recognises that teachers are teachers, they are not referees of TikTok, nor shields against the dangerous misogyny of internet influencers. Councillor Tildesley, who cannot be here this morning as he is teaching, said that schools in Devon are calling out for a steer on this matter from the County Council, while another gentleman of no less importance, the government's Chief Inspector of Schools, the head of Ofsted, Sir Martin Oliver, recently delivered this emphatic and unambiguous message regarding smartphones. Quote, "Ban them, ban them, ban them." End quote. Banning mobile phones in schools is achievable, cost-effective, Ofsted approved, and it improves educational outcomes. While research on this matter is in its infancy, there is enough peer-reviewed evidence to consider, most notably Ward et al. 2017, Schronek et al. 2023 demonstrated the very presence of a smartphone reduces cognitive capacity. Even unused, it steals attention. Smartphones are not the only distraction on a school child's mind, but they are a persistent negative distraction and one that we can do something about. Also, notable research, Baumgardner et al. 2018, linked high phone use to lower academic outcomes and greater classroom disruption. As the government have said this week, in some classes, disruption accounts for 7 in every 30 minutes. Removing phones from schools enables children to learn more efficiently, increases educational attainment while reducing the time and therefore cost of that education and opening more career pathways for those well-educated young people. In my somewhat extensive research, I was genuinely saddened by the ease at which researchers likened children addicted to smartphones to alcoholic and drug-using adults. The developing mind of a child is not equipped for the controlling influence of billion-dollar algorithms. The organisation, Smartphone Free Childhood, tell us that 90% of schools already have a phone policy, but 70% of those policies they describe as ineffective, with almost 50% of schools allowing use of mobile phones in play and meal times. This results in anecdotal comments from schools that smartphones are involved in 60 to 75% of safeguarding cases. Schools that have implemented an outright ban around the country, those safeguarding issues fall dramatically. Acting now allows us to open this conversation across the county. Schools, parents, governors, support groups, and above all, with regards to Femke Neisser earlier today, pupils must be given a chance of shaping this policy. This is about building consensus and trust so that when September 2026 arrives, every school is ready, every parent understands, and every child knows where they stand. An inclusive consultation is a vital part of this process. A consultation gives schools the resources and preparation they need, as well as an opportunity to feed their concerns and suggestions into the process, ensuring that by spring of 2026, a direction can be drafted, communicated, and embedded with confidence. There are concerns, and I am happy to discuss them today. However, these concerns are not reason for delay. They are reasons to plan properly, consult widely, and act decisively. There are strong models to learn from. From Hackney through to Moray, authorities have made sensible choices after listening carefully to schools and parents. Devon can and should do the same. Teachers, free to teach without interruption, pupils who feel safer in the playground, the bike shed and the rest room, freedom to talk, play, connect, make mistakes, parents confident that within the school gates their children are shielded from online bullying and toxic content, parents who are not pressurised to purchase the latest device by children who are desperate to keep up with the Junior Joneses, and beyond that, improved teacher retention. Evidence shows discipline and distraction are key factors in why teachers consider leaving the profession. Remove smartphones and you remove one of the greatest daily drains on teacher morale. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bell.
This council's backing is vital in supporting maintained schools and implementing a firm policy around smartphones, as it provides the authority and consistency needed to implement a decision that, while inevitably unpopular with some parents, is in the best interests of pupils' learning and well-being. Schools often face pressure from families from differing views, and without the visible support of their local authority, they may struggle to enforce such a policy effectively. By standing firmly behind schools, this council will help ensure that head teachers and staff can prioritise education, safeguard pupils, and create a healthier learning environment without being undermined by external objections. By taking this clear position, this council also sets a strong example for academies and other non-maintained schools, encouraging them to adopt similar policies. This will help create a consistent approach across the county, reducing confusion for parents and ensuring all pupils benefit equally. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. This morning, when I looked out, I decided to pack a coat and an umbrella. As I drove along Topsham Road, seeing the young people walking to the ISCA Technology College down the road, I admired their bravery, all walking with no coat, no umbrella, with the black clouds in the sky, and the worst that could happen to them if the skies opened was that they'd be drenched. I'd like to think that their parents were proffering on them a coat this morning. Take the coat, take the coat. And the youngsters were saying, no, no, it's not cool to wear a coat. That's one thing, that's one level of risk and danger, and we might say, well, children can take that risk, they have that choice. I suspect probably all of them, but many of them will have a phone in their pocket, not aware of the risk. Councillor Bell will know when he proposed this motion, I wasn't entirely convinced. It should be a parent's responsibility, talk to their children. But in the past year or two, I've visited schools where they've implemented regimes such as taking the phones away, putting them in phone safes, so the children have an uninhibited day for the learning that they need to do, for the social engagements that they partake in the playground and other places. And so I support this motion, Chairman, because we need to provide the protective umbrella of support, not just as a council, but to our schools and others, and maybe parents who too are anguished by the opportunity a phone provides to get on the World Wide Net and look things up, not need to go to a reference library, but equally awfully aware of the power of such a phone to bring into every home, into every child's room, the sorts of things we would all say no one should see. So I support the motion, Chairman.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Councillor Bell for tabling this motion. I thought that as the councillor who most recently attended school, it is perhaps pertinent that I speak on this motion as well. In fact, it was only just over 5 years ago that I finished secondary education. So I start by saying that I am almost grateful that I attended school early in the social media age. However, even then it was quite clear the damage mobile phone use and social media had. Despite smartphones becoming a common thing for teenagers to have, since I went to school, the situation certainly has become a lot worse. Smartphones now become a regular distraction in many classrooms, at lunchtime, in the playground, before and after school. I was actually lucky to attend a school which already had a no smartphone use policy in place, which was generally well enforced. One thing I would say though, even though I do support this motion and I think it is very good, I do think it is important to recognise that the risks aren't just in the classroom and at school, they continue at home. I would go even further to recognise the harm social media has on young people whose minds are still developing, with dangerous and possibly extremist content being targeted at young people, as recognised in the Online Harms White Paper. A wider understanding of the effect of social media on children's well-being is needed, and key to that is educating parents on the true risks that social media poses. Many of councillors here were parents and some are probably to young children still, and I really would urge them to have these difficult conversations with their children about the way they use social media. Ask them what is appropriate and what isn't. It is pertinent that parents have an understanding of the way children use it, because the hard truth is, you have group chats that are used for bullying and coercion, but not just that. Young people are also at risk from harmful actors who are looking to take advantage of vulnerable young people. So I really do thank Councillor Bell for tabling this motion today, but I really do stress to this council that we must recognise the risk social media has, not just at school, but also at home. And so I really do encourage these difficult conversations to be had by parents with their children, so these young people can be promised a fantastic future where we try and mitigate as much as possible the harms that social media has. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Bell. Thank you, Councillor Richardson, for your comments there. I want to reiterate that really. 2 children in my family, they're both teenagers. One is now 15 and so was 10 going into lockdown and is, I would say, severely addicted to his smartphone. And it is incredibly hard to limit that and get them off it. Their entire lives are wrapped around these phones. I absolutely agree that it is outside of school where the problem starts, but I think signing up and publicising the Smartphone Free Childhood campaign will bring that attention to that campaign to allow these conversations to be had with parents. Also 10 years of working in a primary school, this also applies to children below the age we're thinking here. This is primary as well. We see boxes and boxes of phones coming in with the year 5s and 6s. Brand new iPhones, you know, much better than my phone and yours probably, and with no control over it probably from a lot of parents who perhaps aren't savvy about tech. So it's that conversation, and it's realising that they don't need it to go to high school. They can have something else, and it is so important to have those conversations. So I very much welcome this motion. Thank you.
As I was travelling here today, I had a slightly different view of people, not coats. But I kind of counted the number of people that were on their mobile phone. And it really is amazing how people seem to be so glued to them. I didn't vote for this, even though I intend to support it, because I think that this is a much bigger issue. And I think the fact is that it can affect children's safety in a different way, about how to be in contact with their parents. I spoke with Councillor Bell beforehand, and I said I was fully in support of this, but it was just like recently children were having to access an app to catch the bus. That's a problem if we are going to try and stop children using phones before they leave school. So in theory, I'm totally for this, but I'd hoped it would have gone for a deeper debate, because the fact is that we're trying to police the world, and unless the children and the parents are involved, the children won't take any notice of it, and that's a great shame. So I'm not against any of it, I just would have rather it had a deeper debate on it. Thank you.
Very quickly, just to say that we've known about the risks actually increasing, probably 20 years or something. Children can, you know, have things that the parents don't know about, and you can control what you can in the home. But when they go to school, it's a different world. And I think I think we actually have a duty. We know the risks. We know the risks are out there. And I think if we can exercise our responsibilities and duty to bring in this, you know, this proposal, I think it's really important to do it. And I thank the councillors for supporting it so far.
It does need to go further. You know, Councillor Five Cook is right. But this is a great first step, isn't it? But what I will say is the government don't let you get married till you're 16. They don't let you drink 18, gamble 18, all the rest of it. These phones are causing as much, if not more harm in many aspects to young people than all of those. So not that there's a problem with marriage probably, but certainly gambling, drinking, smoking, you know, it does cause harm. We do need to protect children, and I think it's time not only that we step up, but governments step up, by what the type of content that's allowed on these phones, but also when is an appropriate time to have a phone. I understand what you're saying about the app. They will get the phone back at the end of the day, so they will be able to look at the phone and see what time the bus is coming along. But thank you, Chair.
My contribution is, having worked my career with young people as advocate, project developer, fundraiser for facilities and services, and I still run my own village youth club. I support this motion. It's a starting point.
I was just going to say that it's really the change that we've seen in technology generation by generation also feeds into this. So my feeling, which I've said to Councillor Bell, is that parents need support, and I don't think it's enough to say parents should be doing this, it's their responsibility. A parent who has never experienced that technology or the level of it or anything like addiction or anything like that, or hasn't used it or speaks to humans more than they look at phones, won't necessarily understand how it works and how it works with the brain. So I think the points that I'd raised previously when this was being cooked was just that I'd like to see some more sort of educative sessions, that are, even if they're online sessions, for parents across Devon to be able to access, to just try and learn something about it. Because even as I'm told, quite an old parent, thanks, by my nearly teenager, there's some stuff that I don't understand, and I consider myself to be fairly on the ball. And I think the other point I was going to make about the going home, about using apps and things like that, it's also really, really helpful for children who are in the neurodiverse community. So my child, I'll need to, if the train doesn't arrive, she won't know to get onto the next train. We have to talk. I have to say, open your app, have a look at the map. What does it say there? What does it say there? And guide that through. And through having that kind of technology, we have some children that are able to go out in the world and travel to the school they want to and things like that. So I think there are some great things about technology, but there are some huge dangers as well. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to close the debate now and go back to Councillor Bell. You have the right to right of reply, and then we're going to come to the vote. Okay, you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. I'll power through them. Just to regard to the Vice Chair's excellent points there, one thing that Safeguarding have said is that we now have parents of children, and the parents had smartphone and problems almost coming towards the tail of it. Now they're now bringing children into school who are having the same problem. They are not equipped they are not equipped to deal with the changes that are happening in the world. And of course, the neurodiverse community is essential, as is the diabetic community. There is, I think, within the motion, a call for exceptions and ways of dealing with it. Schools will need to find ways of dealing with those exceptions. Where those exceptions have been called for, they are very low in number, because it brought this in. Just regards to Councillor Lodge, in Braunton schools, obviously all 6 Braunton schools from today are all smartphone free. That's a fantastic move in Braunton. 15% of parents were against it, possibly 45 to 80% of children, but I think they are coming round, and the children with problems, they have gone into school with their own brick phones. That's been the conversation in Braunton. They've all got their phones that I had in the year 2000, but much nicer looking. With regards to Councillor Richardson, thank you very much for your comments there. Risks do continue at home. This is part of a wider conversation. I think it is essential that we bringing the smartphone ban into schools does not fix a mental health crisis, but it starts a conversation where we can reduce mobile phones. As I said, there is less pressure on adults to buy phones for their children, and that is what can reduce mental health problems, and I think that's a good start in the right direction. Yes, Councillor Fife-Cook, you are quite correct, and I am concerned about this move with Stagecoach to have an app-based discount system. We talk about digital exclusion as a real concern, where people can't get online, but actually you've got to look at it the other way. If people are simply, in this case it would be children without mobile phones, but adults without mobile phones, not accessing a discount because Stagecoach don't want to give it to you, that is an area for concern, and something I hope we would address if we're moving forward in that direction. With regards to Councillor Biederman, yes, you're quite right, we do need to take this to every level. I hope that this will generate interest. I know that the MP for South Devon has tried to raise this through Parliament and has struggled in the past. So I would recommend that we as a council might want to write to our MP to bring that forward. And yes, thank you very much.